Hey, hello, how do you do? It's Daisha Lisa and welcome to my channel. I don't know why I just knew you were gonna do something. Anywho, we are home with baby girl. Oh man, the camera is kind of high. Okay. Say hi, Callie. Everybody say hi. Today I asked Calvin to join me in a story time. So that's what this video is all about, just to tell you about our labor and delivery story, which I've been told is unique. I feel like it's unique, and so that is why I want to share it, because a lot of people share their experience with me, and I feel like mine was so different than what I was hearing. Just a great opportunity to learn, right? So let's get into it. First, I have to say, a friend of mine asked me after hearing my story, like, what was my prayer? My prayer was for a miracle. Like, I had definitely been hearing a lot of different stories, and a lot of the stories were terrifying to me. I wanted to pray an impossible prayer, basically saying, God, I wanted to have no labor pains. You know, I know this is like the craziest thing to ask God, but I just wanted it to be so different and so unique. I'm hearing all these different stories. Even though these stories are scary, they're different for me. I'm like, God, give me a different story, give me a unique story, and he did just that. I just want you to have an idea of what my mindset was going into labor and delivery, my prayers, but let's just get straight into the story. What happened first, Calvin?
So she started stimulating her nipples.
So yes, this was a thing. Somebody told me if you do certain things, you can start the labor process. And a part of it is, you know, when your milk comes in or any stimulation to your breast, your body will start to think you're going into labor. And so I'm, you know, just massaging myself, and I noticed that a little bit of colostrum comes out. I get super excited. Calvin's on the game. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm seeing like milk come out, and he's just like looking at me like,
I'm like, yeah, it's supposed to happen, I guess.
Yeah, okay. So then I go back into the room, I text my mom and tell her, and then I go to the restroom and I see that I'm bleeding. I was not nervous. I automatically thought it had something to do with my mucus plug. I'm like, oh, is this the start of labor? We already had our hospital backpack, which is, this was around 7:30. Talked to my midwife, and she's like, oh, that's completely normal. You're 39 weeks, so unless you're having contractions, I think you're okay not to come in. At 8 o'clock, 30 minutes later, I started to have contractions. And a lot of people explained to me that contractions were basically like cramps. And that's what it felt like. Very light. It hurt, but it wasn't extremely painful. So I was still like, Calvin, like, ooh, like I started to make a little bit more noise. I think, what was you thinking when I first started kind of saying like, ooh, I'm feeling stuff?
I thought you were just having some kind of pains. I didn't realize they were contractions. So
yeah,
I didn't really think too much of it.
Yeah.
It's normal. Like earlier that day, she mentioned that her stomach was tightening up. So I'm like, okay, I mean, it's pretty normal. And you mentioned something about it like a couple days before.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't really think too much of it as far as with the stomach pains.
Yeah, so I think I was having Braxton Hicks because it was a tightening feeling towards the top of my stomach. But there weren't the cramp feelings that everybody describes when they talk about contractions. I think after I experienced it maybe for the second or third time, I'm like, okay, let me look at this app and try to keep up with the time. Very quickly, my contractions started to be every 4 minutes within that hour. And so I was like, this is crazy. This feels like it's moving too fast. So I text my doula. I tell her, you know, at probably 30 minutes, hey, this is happening. I'm gonna wait till it's been a full hour to see how things go, and I'll let you know. So as it gets closer to 9 o'clock, they intensify.
Yeah, and I think I started timing it too.
Yeah, he started helping me time it.
It was like 4 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, I guess it's real.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Like, we'll see when we get to the hospital.
to the hospital and go to, I guess, like the triage area where they just would check me to see, okay, am I really in labor? How are things going? And they told me I was 5 centimeters. And this is probably at 9:30. Home at 9.
Like 10.
I guess so. He says about 10. And then they put the little belt around my stomach, around my bump, which kind of measure to see how she's doing, how she's responding to the contractions. And I had to sit there through that for 20 minutes, which was awful because I was experiencing at that point more labor pains in my back. So laying down or being on my side was just not good for me. But she's doing really well, so they say, okay, we're going up to the delivery room. Calvin had to run back to the car to just kind of get all of our stuff, and my nurse had stepped out to go get the midwife and go get the pool ready, because my plan was to do a natural birth and to labor in the pool, labor on the ball, like just to be able to move around until she comes. Yeah. That Calvin and my nurse came and they were with me, and very oddly I felt the most comfortable on the toilet. I just sat there and just rocked and rocked. Anything else was super uncomfortable. My birthing tub wasn't blown up or the water wasn't in it yet. So as I'm waiting for that to happen, I literally just sat there on the toilet and just rocked. And then the back pain started to get worse. And so Calvin helped stand me up and put me in the shower and just took the shower head and put that hot water on my back. And that helped so much. It felt so good in between contractions. Of course, still when the contractions happened, they were still intense, but at least in between them, I felt very soothed. And so he was just taking care of me in that way as he's putting this water on my back. And I felt like she was pushing, like she was coming down, which I'm gonna be honest, it feels like you're constipated, like your body's trying to have a bowel movement to feel like that pressure again. So I stood up, and since I stood up, it felt like she was gonna fall out. Like, so I looked at my doula and my nurse and just tell them, like, I gotta push, like it's time to push, it's time. At this point, I had only been
in the room for about
an hour, less than an hour. So they're like, okay, we gotta get the midwife, we gotta have her check you. She comes in, said she's complete. She's complete, she's ready. And I'm like, okay, I gotta get up. Like, I'm not about to deliver like this. It hurts. And so they tell me like my options, you know, you can squat and get on all fours, and all fours sound the best to me, and it definitely was.
And this was at like 11:30, like 11:30.
11:30.
11:28, let's say that. 11:28.
Something like that, really close. And when you're on all fours, of course, that pressure now is not all on my back. It's, you know, gravity's working with me at this point. But I push and scream a little bit, and I kind of feel her crown, and then she slides back up. My midwife again tells me, breathe, you know, just breathe. I just want you to breathe real easy until you feel that contraction. The next contraction, I want you to push.
But at the same time, I was trying to find a better spot to stand, because it was like 4 or 5 people in the room. I'm like, yeah, I don't even know where to stand it. So I stood on the left side, and I took a picture at like 11:32, and she wanted me to record, but I'm like,
I wanted to be able to see this, you know?
Like, I got plenty of time to record. I'm like, I just took a picture at 11:32, and then I walked over to like the middle part, like took a few steps over, so he was right behind me. Right behind. And the second contraction came, and I pushed, and I just felt her just like kind of like jolt out. She just like flew out like a bolt of lightning flying out, and it was insane. It was crazy. I immediately grabbed my mouth. What's wrong?
Hi.
Immediately grabbed my mouth like over the face mask, and I was in disbelief that she just came out like that fast. Cause I was thinking it was gonna take about 3 hours, 4 hours. Yeah. Labor, but
you hear all these stories of people that have been in labor 24 hours, and you know, this all happened in 4 hours.
5 hours.
Not 4 to 5, because I started to feel contractions at 8 o'clock. It was 7:30 when I first saw the blood. So if you want to count from that time, 7:30 to 11:30. 8, 9, 10, 11:30. That was 4 hours of labor total. Like, it blows my mind. And everybody in the room was just so in awe. You know, they're giving you compliments. You're so great, Mom. You do this, you did it, and you're amazing. And like, I just had to stop them and say, like, no, like, that had nothing to do with me. Like, I genuinely believe that was all God. Like, although I did listen to my body, I do know my body was telling me what was comfortable, when it was time, you know, all these kind of things. But actually setting up things to happen the way they did was all God. And so I'm so grateful that he answered that prayer, that baby girl's okay. You might have seen in the other video, they did think her temperature and sugar, like her glucose levels were low, but she's fine. Like, after those first checks, everything started to go up. She's latching, she's eating, she's tiny, which isn't super shocking. I'm 4'11". I'm like one of the littlest people in my family, so it's understandable. So yeah, we had to look at the phone, look at the text messages. I think my doula got there maybe 20 minutes till I delivered. My midwife, she was there, but like I said, I didn't see her often because she was trying to work on getting the tub filled, and that tub took my whole laboring process. Literally, I didn't get in there or even stick my toe in that tub at all. Yeah, I thought, you know, I had this vision of the music playing, the lights being dim, me being in the water, you know, being in my tub, you know, me being on the ball. Like, I thought I was gonna have all this time to do all these things, and she was ready, I was ready. Like I said, I wouldn't have traded the experience that I had for anything. So I don't know, it just felt amazing to feel like so taken care of still by everybody that was there, by God, and by my husband. He's just been killing it. He really has. These last couple days, we have been a team and working through all these changes, this schedule of taking care of her, just beginning with that laboring process. Like, he helped bring her in this world with me, and he has been taking such good care of her since she's been here. Thank you, baby. That is our story. That is Callie's coming out story. And I just love it, and I just wanted to share with you all, for you moms to be, that I know you're probably hearing all these different type of stories, and God is gonna give you your story, and it's meant to be exactly how it's supposed to be. I would encourage you to start praying now. Do not be afraid to pray those impossible prayers, those prayers of contentment, the prayers of peace, because that's most important. Because whatever your story ends up being, your heart's gonna be content if you completely put your trust in him. So thank you guys for just listening to Calvin and I tell our story. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Peace. Sincerely, Shalise. Oh, and Callie Elise and Calvin Jamar. Bye.